Hello, welcome back to Campaign Coins, playing Beowulf Age of Heroes, the Hermit Sanctuary, picking up right where we left off last week. I'm Jackson from Campaign Coins. I'm here with Mark from Campaign Coins. Here we are. Yes, we're playing Beowulf Age of Heroes, which is a radtastic setting and rules variation for 5e. It's by Handiwork Games. You can jump over to handiwork.games, that's the URL, to learn more about it, because the full rulebook has just released out now on print and on print on demand and in PDF from Handiwork Games and on Drive-Through RPG. I think that's all I have to say, but I'm sure Mark, the fearless Gamemaster, will have more for us.
Just to briefly reaffirm that this is a game for one game master and one player. So if you're wondering where everyone else is, this is it. So we shall begin. Listen. Bold Eadig was a hero from Northumbria. Strong was his arm and good his heart, a humble man who put his faith in God to guide him, but a kind man who did not speak harshly to those that followed the old ways that were here before. He was good to all and beloved. It was known that in his younger days he had wrestled a boar, not the first time his mighty arms would stop some rampaging creature or monster. But when the hall of Northumbria was stilled by tales from a Danish trader that in a lonely island where a godly hermit, had his sanctuary 2 days across the Whale Road, that a monster had begun to kill them in the night. Then Eadig stood forth and knew what must be done, that these godly people must be saved from this peril. So with his followers, not the old, the veteran, the wise man, his courage not failing, but his body beginning to. Leofgerd, a warrior stout and true, a man of few words, if indeed not any. Saywan, a trader, she found it convenient to travel with Eadig, a good man she knew, and profit to be had, coin to be made on his deems. Eastmund, bare-blooded, a good man but not strong of mind, and Thormund, the hero of his own story. And that was beginning to be a problem in the confines of the boat. As 2 days they sailed across the Whale Road, and there were ill omens, the portents, baleful grief, ancient winds. The wind certainly blew and tossed the boat around. Saywan was terribly ill, and the sailors muttered it was because she had met the Danish trader. She had suggested they take this voyage to this island. She thinks this is nonsense. Men will talk, and they talk foolishly. Eadig did not care. He knew the way was true, and they landed after dark upon a deserted beach, guided there, save from the rocks, by a lamp, a light upon the headland high above them. They drew the boat up upon the cliff, upon the shore, and began to make preparations for the night, when the light drifted down towards them as a man approached with a lantern, and he could be seen coming down that dark cliff as the moon shone above. The light, which seemed to be illuminating some ancient ruin above them, down the cliff came the lantern, until closer and closer there drew out of that gloom a man not unlike Eadig, a man tall and broad, with the build of a builder, a man who worked with his hands, with strong arms, but yet not a warrior. He did not have that killer gleam that Eadig saw so much in Thormund. And he held the lantern high and saw the men upon the beach as they sat and making their camp, and said, you are not raiders and you are not traders. You have come to help us.
And Eadig did answer upon him, Aye, we're heroes, and we're here to deal with your monster problem.
God be praised. You have delivered us from the sea in our hour of need. Already there are many dead. Come, follow. I will take you to the sanctuary.
All right. I'll order my followers to pack up our camp, such as it was, and prepare to head inland.
Well, you can't pack up a boat.
No. We were starting to make camp, I believe. Because we thought we were going to stay on the beach, but we didn't.
So in Beowulf, we have our hero, played by Jackson. He has 5 followers that are kind of like NPCs with skills and powers that he can that are characters within the story, and also he can look at their particular skills and use them in certain circumstances. And then you have your crew, which is all the people on the boat. So the crew are well and truly camped. They've set up some shelters. They've got the boat, the messenger, a long boat with a wooden prow with a raven looking ever out to sea. So that the crew are camped here. And you don't arrive at a hall when you are seeking hospitality with 40 hungry men and women. So they expect that they will camp here.
Great.
But will you leave one of your followers to be in charge of this camp, or will you ask all the 5 followers to come with you?
That is not a terrible idea. Let me have a look. Who is... good. I'm having a look at all these fine followers that have advantage on strength saves and advantage on death saves, and that sounds rad. But I think Saywin, the trader, may be slightly less helpful because she knows the ways of trade and she can barter. Oh, actually, maybe not. She was sick last night, so she probably could use a night undercover. I don't want to leave Thorman behind, even though it's in my best interest, because I think that's going to cause more problems later down the road. Leofkid can save me. I will leave Eastman behind, because he is strong.
Okay, Eastman is strong, and he will follow orders, and if there is anything to be done, he will do it. But Nut the Old looks at you and says, Eastman... You're leaving Eastman.
Well, I'd appreciate your counsel, Nut.
He is a good man and true. He has strong arms. And that's Eastman.
By which I mean, I think I could have use of your counsel as we approach the sanctuary.
And I will be there to give it to you, and I look forward to getting inside.
Excellent.
And Thorman sort of sees that Eastman's been left in charge of the boat and says, yeah, right, Eastman, try to keep it above the water. That'd be good, mate. And Eastman says, what do you mean?
Banter.
We should go. And you can see that even though this builder is broad, and he introduced himself, I am Thrifgar. He is not. He's looking around. He keeps shining the lantern along the beach. As you gather your arms and armor, he steps close to be among you. He's not lacking in courage, but he does not like to be out here in the dark.
You got a nervous temperament about you there, sir. Is there anything that my men should be worried about camping on the beach?
The monster comes at night. We should get inside.
All right. Well, I trust you, Eastmund. Keep the crew safe.
Yeah, I will.
I'll follow him up to the sanctuary.
He sits down and starts eating. All right. Up the cliff you go, 60-foot tall cliff. With there are stone steps carved here, and so with the light, your followers also will raise lanterns to light the way. You're not expected to carry a lantern, Eadig. That's a follower's job. So It is getting away from that kind of the spray of the ocean and the roar, and up to that hut, which is built into the side of a stone ruin, a circular ruin. The stones seem ancient. You can make a perception roll for me.
About the stones in particular? About the ancient stones? As it happens, not the deaf can tell me about the ancients and the old ways. What can that do? You can translate some stuff and interpret clues, but perhaps I don't need that just yet.
But you've called upon a follower, and he says...
Oh, by which I mean, the follower must make a DC 10 intelligence check, and he becomes spent on a failure. So if Nut has anything extra for me, I can make an intelligence check for him.
No, well, it is up to you to say, I want this follower to tell me right now, looking at this ruin in the dark, what he can tell me.
That sounds good.
It's a difficulty 10 roll with no modifiers. And if you miss it, then he is going to be spent until he's had a long rest, which means he's going to realise it's very cold, he is old, he won't be able to talk over his teeth chattering, and he won't be able to give you any counsel, advice, or do anything. He will fade into the background. So do you want to use him now, or do you want to hold off on that?
It would amuse me to use it now and see what he can tell me about the history of the islands, and
So let's just look in at our inspiration mat here, and a reminder of the portents that came last time. Baleful grief upon this island. The monster has 2 inspiration for me to spend because I am a terrible person and I will spend it. I could spend it right now to give Nut disadvantage on this check.
You wouldn't
because, well, he's old and it's cold and he's just been in a leaky boat for 2 days. I could do that. He himself has inspiration. You've got 1 inspiration for your followers, so you can have advantage on this roll if you want it right now. But you're not going to get these back. This is for the whole adventure. And you yourself have inspiration plus 1 in the bag, because when you fought that boar in the flashback, you had advantage on a roll. You chose, of your 2 dice, the church dice or the old ways dice. He says, I'm for the church. You chose that as the number that you selected, and so you actually manufactured some inspiration. So you've got inspiration for yourself. So that's what's going on with that. Difficult.
One more time. So I've got inspiration on green part of the map for myself, and then
That's right.
What's the extra one?
Blue is the followers. The extra one. Do you remember? You wrestle the boar.
Yeah. So can I spend that on anyone, on myself or my followers?
No, that's for you.
That's just for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good luck. Hope
So
he doesn't get a chill.
I will not use my follow inspiration on Nut at this time.
Right.
I will instead just roll a 12. He's all good.
All right. Well, he says, those stones are old. They are older than the church. People have lived in this on this island for centuries. And look, there you see where some of the moss has been moved. They are working on this tower. And when he observes that, you can see that indeed it's like the tower is crumbled. It's open to the elements, but you can see some points where the moonlight is just glinting on stone. That there's some earth. They've definitely been quarrying stone from this ruin.
But there are no carvings or illustrations that I need to worry about.
It is pitch black.
Of course.
You absolutely can say, let's go have a look.
You
want to really pause, hold your land, and you can do that. But you'd have to go inside. Otherwise, the thing is, Frithgar does not want to be out after dark, so he is getting out of here.
I don't want to be rude. We'll follow Thriftgar.
Alrighty. So you put that dark ruin behind you. You put the distant light of the campfires down below on the beach behind you as you go forwards. And now you're up on the island proper. It is a small island of heather and gorse. All around you can hear the crash of the waves below as the steep cliffs. It seems like the eastern side of the island, which is where you landed, is where the cliffs are at their lowest, and they are higher to the north and west. So it is very difficult to glimpse much, but there is a path directly that you're passing now, and that makes the going easy. Also, there are no trees upon this island. They have long since been cut. And so anything being built here, in fact, Nut will make an observation. If they want reeds or wood, it must be brought to them. And that is why they must trade. Very little grows here. So you will you're heading towards the center of this small island, and there is night all around. It is dark. There are the many shapes of stones. Is it the shape of a stone, or is it a hulking figure looking at you with eyes older than man?
It's a stone.
Oh no, it's just a stone.
It's just a stone. It's a stone. Yeah.
It's not moving. It's certainly not waiting there, patiently hungry to feed again.
No, it's not.
Because stones don't eat.
No,
what a foolish idea. So you come to a point where the path splits. It continues around to the north, but also it heads off to the northeast. And in that distance, looking upon the path, you can see that there is some buildings. You can see some lights there. But where you are at this junction, there is one of those stones is right here, and you can glimpse it. You can see the stone, and there's an image of it. And we're only going to show you that for a little while because it is dark, and Frifgar is walking on. But it seems to be some carvings, and it seems to be, you get an impression of a large figure surrounded by small figures. And then the moment has passed, and you can stop looking at the Google Jamboard. Jackson, spoilers, you will have to come back in the light, unless you would like to pause a moment in the dark and hold your light closer to study it.
I wouldn't mind doing so if I can, especially if I can use Not's roll from just a moment ago. If he can tell me anything about it.
You cannot use Nut.
Okay.
You cannot use Nut's roll from just a moment ago because that was you saying, "What can you tell me about these ruins?" Now you're asking me, "What can you tell me about this standing stone?" Different thing. But Frifgar is, even as you pause thinking, "Am I going to stay?" Frifgar is looking around saying, "Make haste." One of these stones may not be a stone.
All right, well, now I'm concerned. I won't be rude. We will carry on.
All right, leaving that behind you. Patient and old, worn by time. You will go forwards to this circular wall around 3 buildings. 2 of them are just shadows. They are huts, round huts. There is no light within them. But there is, you can see some light from the sparks coming from the chimney of a longhouse. And that is exactly where Frifgar is hastening. And you can see as you walk along the path through the gap in the wall, there is no gate. As I say, the wall is 5 to 6 feet high of piled stones. Just to your right, you can see that there has been a collapse and there are stones fallen upon the ground. But once again, Frifgar is not pausing. You go along the path, passing those two dark huts to each side, and onto the hall, a wide, low, oval-shaped building with a thick thatched roof, and there is a door directly opposite you. I have an overhead map of it now. It's a little incongruous because clearly that map is in day, and this is dark night. But that is the layout you can see there. That it has the wall around it. There's the point where the wall is broken, the two huts to either side, and the longhouse, this wide, low building. You hear Frifgar says, "Did I?" And there is some scraping and moving as something inside is jostled out of the way, and it takes some time, truth be told. Almost as if the person most qualified for this job of moving something heavy in front of a door, well, both of them are out here right now, but that is hauled aside, and you see this blessed warmth, this huge roaring fire in this longhouse, and you are most pleased to kind of step in there and feel that light and warmth upon your face. There's also a thick felted blanket, which also hangs in front of the door to keep out the draft. And so that is pushed aside. The air is full of incense and cooking smells. There's the warm glow of candles on a wooden altar, and it is an altar to God, the God of the book. The hearth is blazing with a good-sized fire, and there's kind of a warm golden glow in here. Everything is a little bit disordered. It seems like all of the benches in the hall have been moved so that they are close to the door for some reason. Also, the table had been moved aside, and there are sleeping blankets and rushes here. Everything is slightly out of order, as though normally they do not sleep in the hall. The hall is partitioned. There is a curtain down to the western end, and there are people stepping forward to greet you. Frifgar, there are their portraits. Fantastic art, of course. John Hodgson, I believe. I will say that I have never seen a scenario, and this is free for download, so generous with the art to show you where things are, beautiful maps and paintings, the sense of place. So I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. There is a tall man in a Frisian cap, and he steps forward and says, "Welcome, strangers, welcome indeed. You are most welcome. Come in. Frifgar." And he is really panting, like he's recently just had to move. What you can see are barrels filled with stones. That's what they've been putting in front of the door. And there are two other people there. There is a stout woman, and she's, come in. You're letting in the cold, and what else besides ungodly things. And tucked behind her is a young boy with red hair, and he's dirty blonde hair. He's very slender, but his eyes are wide. He cannot take his eyes off you, Eadig, nor can anyone, as you fill the door. This massive hero that you are, a bench breaker from Northumbria. As in come your followers as well, making their nods, and now everyone is inside, and Frifgar swiftly moves as Cairo, she's the housekeeper, she moves to shut the doors, and the tall man, the trader, his name is Elfnoff. He doesn't move that barrel again. That's what Frifgar is for. But there's another barrel to move.
Oh, I would like to help move a barrel. No, actually, that's not a very heroic thing to do. I would like to ask Thorman to move a barrel. The barrel.
It is not a heroic thing to do.
No,
but
that
it
was
is
very
a really,
pointed.
it is a really kindly thing to do. So Thorman says, "Don't want you people getting cold now, do we?" And so Foreman steps forward and moves, and you can see that Kyra, the housekeeper, is really approving of that. But Elfnoff steps to you. "You are welcome. Come, sit by the fire. You are cold from your journey."
Well, we much appreciate your hospitality here.
God has surely delivered you to us. In these times.
We can only hope that that's his plan, aye.
Well, it is clear, sir, from the look of you, that there could be no other reason save but a miracle, as our dear Egbert is wont to tell us, that if we have faith, then God will see to us. And even though these times are terrible, we are beset. We are beset.
I would like to know
most
the
welcome.
nature of the creature that besets you.
And he looks afeared, and Cairo, the housekeeper, she goes straight to the altar and prays. And the boy, like the boy you rescued from the boar in the woods, his name is Edgar or Eddie, and he reminds you of him. And so, at the mention of this, they are all. It's like they're too horrified to speak, too afeared. "Yeah, you put too much hopes on a stranger," says the housekeeper. "He is just here for our hospitality. None would stay here at these times."
Not at all. I've sailed all the way from Northumbria to come here. If it was hospitality I was seeking, I would have stayed in the hall of my lord. But as it is, I've come here to do what's right. To fulfill whatever plan the Almighty has for me.
That's what they say, Edgar. That is always what they say, boy. But then they just leave you. They just leave you alone. Leave you to bring up a young man alone. They just go away. That's what they do every time. You'll be gone in the morning. And so after this kind of sense of hope, for whatever reason, it is as though she was expecting somebody else to walk through that door and got you. For a reason that you cannot put your finger on, that she turns inward. And Edgar is like, and he's literally kind of, his mother is pulling him back. And you see in his eyes, exactly like Eddie of old, this moment when the boy will become the man. But she is withdrawing to the fire. You want feeding first before we have any tales. So she busies herself. So being a long haul, people are starting to get some distance. And Frifgar is like, "It is good to be here." And he goes and sits down. And it is Elfnoff who definitely is welcoming you and putting his hope in you.
Elfnoff was the tall one.
Yes, yeah. I am the provisioner. I ensure that we trade well and that we eat. Trade, you say, says someone. On our boat, we have some things that may be of interest for you. I knew that this island was lonely and deserted, and we will bring them up in the morning. I'm sure we can come to a fair arrangement. So Saywon has just immediately started to bargain, just ignoring the monster in the room or the monster outside the long hall. Do you want to let her treat with him or get back on the business?
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with setting up some rapport before we get to the business of the day.
All right. So then that is they are getting to it. But even Elfnoff himself looks a little like, don't we have something else to be doing here? As she starts to engage him on the matter. And Thormund, you can see, he is going over and kind of smiling at the boy. Let's have a little bit of an adjustment here. All right. So, as part of the download package for this free scenario, John Hodgson has done these most extraordinary maps, which we've got up now. Not quite as easy to see as a nice virtual tabletop, but absolutely exquisite with the colours. So I'll just slap some figures down there, just as kind of pretty backdrop. Actually, he is not here. You left him down on the beach with the boat. Okay, so you and your followers are in there. And there's Elfnoff talking to you. And there's the builder. Way out of camera, but it doesn't matter. It's not like there's a fight happening. That wouldn't transpire. Alrighty. So you can see that Elfnoff is very interested and is like, tell me of your boat. How much cargo have you bought? He's very interested in the ship and what it contains and how many men crew it and where are you from? So he's asking her lots of questions.
And the woman was Cairo. She's busying herself with...
Yes. Yeah, it's like she had a moment of hope, and then it is though she told herself, what is the point of hope? Hope is dead. There are monsters outside. She's making food for you. She's being hospitable as a good Christian woman, but you can't explain it. You decided to say, I'm here to do this thing. And she did not believe you. And that's not to say you can't go over and convince her. But that was her instinct.
I'm planning to save like a stirring speech till after dinner and after I've got the full details. But in the meantime, can I keep getting to Thriftgar? Is he up to anything?
Yes, yeah, you can leave Sawan and Elfnoff to discuss trading terms, and even as you are leaving that conversation, it seems like Elfnoff is more interested in news from outside than he is about saying what's happening here. And because Sawan is here to sell her goods before everybody is killed horribly, she's they're lost in their conversation. Not the Old is warming himself, and Thormund is playing with Edgar, and like showing him his axe. And you can see Cairo does not like that at all. She does not care for it. So you go over to Frithgar. All right.
It's a humble existence you've eked out here. Close to God, I imagine.
It is at that. The Hermit is a godly man, and we see to him. And I had hoped to read the book as he does, but the letters they would not stay still for me. It was though I can hear the words, but they would swim from my grasp, and I knew that it was. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. It is because we have seen death.
And yet you've walked a path of your own. You've kept these ones safe. you've eked out an existence. That's nothing to be ashamed of. But I have to ask, were there more of you before?
We are the servants, and we serve the hermit. It is poor pilgrims come here that they were taken.
I see.
But I am tired. Eadig, you will forgive me. I have moved many stones today, and then I kept the watch, and I have more stones to move tomorrow, as we must repair the damage from the storm.
I can leave you to your rest if that's what you seek.
And yeah, he's really weary, and you know, you can see that he is strong, but he's definitely and you can see from the stones being moved that he has been working hard.
All right. In that case, I guess I should just wait for dinner and engage a lot of them in getting a report.
So when you turn from him, he's just said, "I've got all these stones to move," and you say, "Oh, I'll leave you to rest." It's almost like he realised the magnitude of things. Like his shoulders kind of droop a little bit. Well, it's only me, and he goes off to bed. All right, what are you doing?
I guess. Well, let's check in on Edgar and Thormund. Is it Thormund?
Yes. Yeah. If you've seen Thormund give you the occasional kind of look of jealousy and animosity, that is nothing to the stink eye that he is getting from Cairo, the housekeeper, who is stirring the stew as though it were his brains, as he is showing Edgar all his weapons and telling the story of the people he's killed with them, and Edgar loves it.
Oh, well, it seems like we arrived a few years too early. If we just waited a bit longer, we'd have a little hero there here to take care of the monster without us.
And it occurs to you that when you see that Thormund is doing all the talking. Actually, Edgar hasn't spoken at all. He's just, and you don't know if he's fascinated or kind of pinned in fear, you know, but he's definitely hearing all this.
I'll smack him on the shoulder.
If you want to split a man's skull right down to his teeth, an axe is the thing. Oh, Eadig.
Oh, you don't need to tell him that. I'm sure he's hefted many an axe in his short life. Maybe just a wood for the moment, but before long he'll be splitting monsters in half before you know it. Ain't that right, young lad?
Life be shorter if you don't learn how to fight. And Thormund goes over to the fire.
You have hefted axe, haven't you, boy? Is that what you do around here? Chop the wood, fetch the water, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
What about when all the wood's chopped and all the water's fetched? What do you like to do with yourself?
Now, he's in a bind. You seem friendly.
I am friendly.
But his mother doesn't like you. So you're going to have to persuade him.
I am fairly persuasive.
Let's see
+5.
how persuasive you are.
Outrageously persuasive. 23.
Yes. I chop wood when we can get the wood. When it comes in the boats, mostly I gather eggs, and do things for the hermit, and I wash his feet, and do what Mother says, and keep my prayers.
Well, that's a good lad. Listen to your
Now,
parents.
so what did you get? What was your total result?
23 for persuasion.
23.
Pretty good.
and I know more about this island than anyone because I like to explore, and the cliffs are beautiful, and I know where the best nests are and where the birds are, and the birds that will peck you, you've got to stay away from them. And the caves and the cliffs, there are many caves, and I know where the best fishing places are, but I'm a bit worried about the caves because I think that's where the monster might be sleeping, in a cave.
Well, that's mighty good to know. I'm glad to have you here to be my eyes and ears.
And yours is not the only ship. There is another boat. I've seen it down upon the western cliffs. There's a boat down there, a small boat.
One that's made landing, but you haven't seen any people come off it?
No.
That's mighty peculiar. Most people land where we land, I take it, and come up and trade and resupply and whatnot.
But I also want you to know that I'm not scared, because if the monster comes, I will just hide. I can hide anywhere. I can hide. He won't see me. No, he won't.
I can tell you're not scared. No need to worry about that, lad. And hiding's a good trick. Longer you know how to hide, the longer you stay alive, I reckon.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Do I really have to hit a man with an axe to his teeth? Do I have to do that?
No, I suppose it's not the path everyone has to walk. But even knowing the land and knowing your surrounds, that's a mighty valuable thing, especially to heroes.
I can take you if Mother lets me. I can show you around.
That'd be fine. Maybe once the sun comes out and it's a bit safer to be out and about.
Edgar! From his mum, who's seen that he's been dallying, and he goes over to help. And you can see that she's talking to him, and she scowls at you, and then he says something, and then she looks back at you, and her expression softens a little bit.
Excellent. 23. That's a good number to roll.
That's a good roll.
Good roll. All right. How far away is dinner?
They'll be served now.
Excellent.
And you all are grateful to fill your bellies. And Saywin, of course, for all her kind of trading, you can see that that she's in that moment. She's forgotten kind of that she's starting to cough. She's just not well. So it'll be good to get some food into her. All right. Yes, Elfnoff will tell you. So we had two pilgrims, a man and a woman, Osgood and Agnes, rest their souls. They came to visit Egbert and take prayers with him. They seemed honest and good people. They discussed spiritual matters, and they kept to themselves. But one night, Osgood went for a walk and he did not return, and the next day we found bloody bones. And Agnes was beside herself with baleful grief, and she searched for him until it was dark, and we said, you must come back to the hearth. And she would not. And the next day we found blood and bones. And so.
How long ago was that?
That was 2 days ago. And last night there was a novice monk who was with us, Elric, and he arrived late in the day by himself, and that wasn't Elric. We never knew his name because we did not meet him. We only found bloody bones, but we knew from the cassock and his prayer book that is how we knew that his name was Elric. And
And this Danish trader you dispatched to Northumbria? How
oh,
long ago was...
that was last. Oh, of course. Yes. No, he was staying here when and we were trading when he helped in the search, and when Agnes was taken, he left that day, and he was worried that for his own safety, and well, that is for him. But you've met him then.
He brought word of your plight, and I answered it. So no one's caught sight of this creature then? Just taken in the night? That's right. But...
Okay, now I'm just going to adjust the timeline a little bit because I realise, of course, in my intro you'd met the Danish trader. He was 2 days out, so these killings would have been taking place like a few days apart.
Of course,
so it's been spaced over about a week. So yeah, retcon. So if indeed that's what happens when you homebrew an introduction to a scenario which is perfectly fine until you mess it up. Oops. So indeed. All right. So that is the story.
No one's seen the creature, but Thrift Guy, you seem to reckon that it can take the shape of stones.
You turn and Thrift Guy
Thrift Guy's still
absolutely worn out.
Knocked
he
out.
is fast asleep. Like he could barely keep his eyes open.
Thrift Guy said something about the creature turning into stones. Is that a story you know?
Thrift Guy is... We all see things. There are stones upon the island. I cannot speak to that. It sounds like a superstition, but there is something among us that leaves only bloody bones, and it is not the work of a man. But you may speak to Egbert in the morning, unless you wish for me to wake him. He would want to see you.
Well, no, if it's not safe after dark, then it's not safe after dark. I'm sure the good hermit wouldn't appreciate us wedging his door open this time of night with a monster on the loose. Best if we rest up, especially Saywin had a rough journey. I'd like all my men to be at the top physical condition in the morning. And we thank you again for your hospitality. I can see you've provided us with much means that you have, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
Now, and so tell me more of where you've travelled from and about your ship.
Oh, well, we've come from Northumbria. There I stay in the hall of my lord. We travel on the good ship, the Messenger. Been in my family for generations, it has. Got a mighty
good
fine
boat,
brow.
a deep boat?
Aye, well, it carried us here through some storms and rough weather, as the crew will tell you. But yes, we're all here in one piece, and thanks be to God for that.
Good. It's good to sail upon the waves. It is good. Do you want to roll the d20 for me? No reason.
No reason at all.
No reason at all. No reason.
All right then.
Whatsoever.
So a 3 would be entirely inconsequential then.
I should think so. Yes. Well, look. I'll tell you something. I wouldn't speak to anything. Everyone's upset, and I wouldn't speak to them. But those pilgrims, they were stealing from the hermit.
Who's telling me this?
Elfwolf.
How do you know? Did he catch him?
No, he did not, because he is old and trusting, but I am the provisioner, and I know that things have been going missing. Holy relics. I said in the mildest way, but he would not believe me, and he thinks that if they had been missing, then people would realise and would bring them back. But I think I wonder if they have brought the wrath of God upon themselves.
Well, yep, he does move in mysterious ways. If that is the case, then we're here to right that wrong. We're...
But I'm glad you're here. It is good to have people of action. Well, I mean, Frifgar, he's a strong man, but he's, well, stupid is an unkind word, but he's not too, he's not going to work out how to save us. And Cairo, she's so bitter because of what happened to herself, and Edgar, he's just too young, and the Hermit, well, he's very old. He's very wise, but he's very old.
Each of them have their strengths, and each of them have a path to walk, and that's why we've come to walk our path, just the same.
Yes, a path, a path. Yes, or to sail away. Yes, that is a good thing. It's good to see you, Eadig. Good indeed.
Right. Well, should we talk more in the morning? Sally forth to find evidence.
Yes, that would be wise, because only the very brave would be out at night. And then you hear cries and shouts from outside. Oh, there let us in!
Who is that? Do I recognise the voice of my crew?
They are Northumbrian accents. It sounds like your crew. There are 30 to 40 people outside.
Oh, no. All right, I'll run to the door. Who's there? Help me get this open.
All right, so it'll be you. Of course, Thorman jumps up to help as well, and you move the barrels of stones out of the way and haul the door open. And there is like, God be praised, and Odin has rescued us, because your crew are a little bit by the book and a little bit by the old ways. They are flooding into the hall, and their beards are stiff and bushy, and their eyes are bright with terror. And they're all crowding in, and you can hear in the Hermits. I mean, this is even wakes the Hermit. You hear, what is that? What? Coming from behind that curtained area as the crew are flooding in, and last through the door, a massive figure covered in bright, dripping blood. You see the whites of his teeth and the whites of his eyes as gore runs down his beard. It is Eastmond. Olaf was taken. And then he collapses on the floor as outside the dark, dark night keeps its own. And that is where we're going to finish.
Oh boy. Well, things just started happening.
Alrighty.
I wonder if we're gonna wait till morning after all, or hunt while the hunting's fresh. Who can say? Olaf was just a crew member, I take it.
He was indeed, but that is our story for today. So you will make those decisions to rally your followers and your crew right now and go into the night. But clearly, from the amount of Olaf that Eastmond is currently wearing, it is too late for Olaf.
That's Olaf he's wearing. Okay.
Yeah, that
not
is.
Not the monster. All right.
No. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for Beowulf, the Hermit Sanctuary, episode 2. And we will return at this time next week for more.
Thanks, one and all. We'll see you next week.
All right. Goodbye.